Okay. So I wanted to dive in today to talk about this topic of pricing your services with confidence. You guys know that earlier this year, I released my very first short course. It's called Pricing with Confidence. And it is essentially a step-by-step brief guide to helping you figure out exactly how to calculate your design fee and some best practices. And so today I thought it'd be useful to pull some of the key elements that are a part of that course and teach them here for you today so that you can see the power of investing a little bit of time in figuring out your pricing structure. You know, one of the things that I hear all the time inside our community of designers, whether it's in the free Facebook group, inside Designers Room, inside Power of Process, or just when I'm at an event with local designers, is that designers are spending hours agonizing over how to calculate their design fee and if the proposal is accurate or is going to get accepted. They're also feeling uncertain about exactly what to charge. Am I charging too much? Am I charging too little? And then they're dealing with clients who are questioning their fees, pushing back, asking for further clarification. A lot of designers too feel like, should I be charging hourly? Or maybe a fixed fee is better for me. I often hear designers say, oh, I just want to move to a fixed or flat fee so I don't have to track my hours. More on that to come. But essentially, we're all wondering how to calculate our fee and how others are doing it. And again, this is why community is so powerful. I recorded an episode a little while back. It's called Pricing Your Services, and it is episode number 72. I recommend you go give that a listen. I talk about some of the lessons that I learned early in my business, the mistakes I've made. I think that episode will really resonate with you. But if you stay here for now, I'm going to walk you through kind of the three highlights, the three you need to do right now things that I'm pulling from my course, Pricing with Confidence, to help get you on your way to pricing your services and feeling good and feeling confident that you have priced them right and confident that you probably can stand up to your clients and have the right responses when they start to question you. So today I want to dive into kind of the three top things. And then at the very end, I'm going to share with you a couple client objections and some really good responses that you can have at the ready for those clients when they ask those difficult questions. Okay, so let's dive into this episode. All right. I'm Rebecca Hay, and I've built a successful interior design business by trial and error, podcasts, online courses, and so many freaking books. Over the last decade, I've grown from an insecure student to having false starts to careers, and now I'm finally in the place where I want to be. Throughout my journey, it's been pretty obvious that I'm passionate about business and helping other entrepreneurs do the same. Each week, I'll share tangible takeaways from my own experience and the experiences of other badass women to help you build your confidence and change your business. Have a quick sip of water. I'm trying really hard not to get sick. Everyone around me has like a terrible cold. You know, and when you're feeling it, you're like, okay, not going to be me. It's not going to be me. I don't get sick. That was old Rebecca. Okay, here we go. So the very first thing I think it's important to talk about is your client. So here's one of the things that I teach in every single course. In fact, I've had people take my courses. They're like, Rebecca, you talked about this in your other course. I'm like, yeah, there's a reason I keep repeating this over and over again. You need to know who you want to serve. You need to know who you want to serve, because if you don't know who you're serving, it is hard to figure out what you're going to charge, because different clients are willing to pay different fees. They have different values. They have different pocketbooks. Not everyone wants to pay $300,000 for you to landscape their backyard, but there are other people who will do it in a heartbeat. Spoken from experience. So you need to understand who your client is. It is an exercise that I still do to this day for my design firm. I still do it to this day for this podcast, for my coaching programs, because it's evolving, it's a changing, and it's a changing the whiz. They are a changing. But seriously, the knowing the financial ability of your client is going to help. I talk about inside the course, I talk about how, if you want to do paint consultations and you also want to offer, let's say, one-off just design consultations or consulting or DIY services, don't expect to get clients who want full service design. Meaning that if you're positioning your pricing low, you are going to attract people who can afford that price point. If you want to attract someone who's looking for full service, turnkey, white glove service design, then likely you need to revamp your process. So definitely take power of process so that you can serve those clients really well. But you also need to structure your pricing accordingly. You want to meet your clients where they're at. And what this would look like is like a Venn diagram, where in the one circle, it's what your client values, what they need and what they want. And then in the other circle, it's what you have to offer. And where that overlapping happens, that is the sweet spot. That is the money. And that is where when you offer what that client is looking for at the price that they want, you're off to the races. And so I want you to consider some touch points when it comes to communicating with this ideal client. So once you've figured out your ideal client and inside pricing with confidence, I walk you through an exercise to help you figure that out. I also have a very robust exercise inside Power of Process. It's also inside Designer's Room. I feel like it's something that you should do annually so that you can really get clear on who you're serving for so many reasons beyond just pricing. But for today's purposes, we're talking about pricing. So you want to make sure that what you offer is going to meet the client where they're at. And so what I'm going to recommend to you to do is to consider all the elements of your ideal client, who it is that you want to serve. And then the second thing you need to do is you need to decide on your core offering. I always recommend to design firm owners, to entrepreneurs, start with one core offering. Don't offer a smorgasbord. Smorgasbord. I don't know how to pronounce that. You know what I mean? Don't offer a la carte design. Yeah, I could do that. I could also do that. It's confusing. Pick one offer. It doesn't mean that down the road, you can't then offer another service, but start with one thing. Figure out your process for that one thing. Figure out your pricing for that one thing. And then you can start to find the clients and that sweet spot. So I recommend inside the course, I walk people through an exercise to help them validate their service offering. You want to make sure that that service that you have created, that you're offering, is really what your client wants. And then you find that sweet spot, because you can't calculate a design fee until you know what the fee entails, right? Is it DIY? Is it packages for consultation? Do you want to do packs of 10 hours at a time and your hourly rate is $150 and you collect a retainer? Like maybe that's your structure. Do you want to offer hourly design services? Just you start billing until there's no time left. Do you want to calculate a fixed fee for the design? Do you want to calculate fees based on phases like I do in a project? You need to understand what that offer is before you can figure out your pricing. When I started in this industry, no one really talked about this. It was really just mostly, at least the people I knew, which was not that many. So we didn't have podcasts. We we had the internet, but you know what I mean? It wasn't like it is now. We didn't have online communities like now. And so there wasn't a lot of sharing. And so I didn't know what other people were doing. All I knew from the people I spoke with and the people I had worked for was this idea that I charge hourly for my services. And it was all about how much do you charge hourly? How much do you charge hourly? But when you really think about it, that's not that helpful. So Susie down the street charges $150 an hour. Jonathan charges $210. I'm charging $75 an hour when I'm starting out. Who's making more money? There's an assumption that the person who is charging $210 an hour is making more money, but are they billing for as many hours? Are they discounting their time? How many hours does it take them to do a project? Like, no one talked about that. It was just like, oh, she's billing $200 an hour. She must be making so much money. The joke is there's so much more to pricing your services than just knowing your hourly rate. And I know some of you listening are like, yes, preach. I feel you, Rebecca. So you do need to know what the services you're offering so you can start to think about the best way to price out that service. And then once you've found that sweet spot, try it. Number 3, and this is the big one, I'm going to spend most of my time talking about this, is choosing your pricing model. There are various pricing models that exist in the industry. Inside Pricing with Confidence, I walk you through the 3 most common types of pricing models that I see amongst the hundreds of designers that I've worked with and my colleagues. And I think that they are the most commonly used. I walk you through the pros and cons of hourly, fixed fee, hybrid pricing models to help you get a better understanding of what's probably going to work for you, because fixed fee isn't for everyone. Hourly isn't for everyone. Mixing it up can be confusing for some. And so I think it's really one of the strengths of this course that I have is that I'm able to walk you through a really clear description of what does it mean to follow this pricing model and what does it mean to follow the other one. So that then you can do the comparison and then you can decide. So once you determine your pricing model, let's say you decide, I want to stick with hourly. Hourly is for me, but how do I present it to the client? How do I make sure that that's what's going to work for them? Or how do I make sure that I'm profitable? What you need to do, obviously, is track your hours, but you need to put together a way that you are going to present it to your client. So let's talk about this for just a second here. I want to talk about some of these sort of best practices that I believe for getting in front of that client with the pricing that you've calculated. And this might help you get a clearer sense of where you want to go. But essentially, you want to have key touch points with your client or your potential client. I recommend that the first thing you do, the first order of business, the first touch point, if you will, with your client, be sending them a PDF. Some people call this an investment guide. I like to call it our About Us document. I've also called it Working with Rebecca Hay Designs. Whatever the heck you want to call it, it doesn't really matter, but it is a PDF that it outlines your services and your pricing model. And why I like doing this is because I can immediately pre-qualify my clients. My clients immediately look at my PDF and they say, either, yes, this is someone I want to work with. This price feels like it's in alignment with the service that she offers, or holy heck, no freaking way. That lady is out to lunch. She's going to charge $30,000 to design like one floor of my house. No, thank you. And so that immediately helps to disqualify the people that are not the right fit. If you can put your pricing down on paper, it feels more transparent. And you may not say how many hours, but you could, if you charge hourly, you could say, okay, I'm $150 an hour. Well, that's not helpful for a client, but you could say the average number of hours on a kitchen project is, and I'm making this up, guys, 100 to 150 hours. The average number of hours we spend on a new build are, 300 to 400 hours, or I don't know. Don't quote me on the hours, but you get the idea. I think it's important to educate your clients on overall what it is going to cost. And so hearing this might start to make you think, oh gosh, maybe I don't want to charge hourly because I don't want to have to estimate my hours. And that's how I felt. I was terrible at it. I was so freaking terrible at it. I would estimate in the beginning, and I think I shared this in the other episode, maybe not. I would estimate in the beginning of my business that it's probably going to take me somewhere between 10 and 30 hours. Well, come on. Like, thing only takes 10 to 30 hours, unless I'm like, I don't know, maybe I'm doing like a living room scheme. Like, hours just fly by, and I would constantly be over the hours. I would constantly be 50 hours. And the clients were like, what? Like, what gives, Rebecca? You said that it was going to be 30 at the max. Well, of course, I didn't anticipate there was going to be these issues on site and there was going to be that. And it caused me so much anxiety. I was always discounting my hours, and I hated an hourly pricing model. That's just one of the cons of an hourly pricing model. And so I made a choice to try fixed fee. And so fixed fee, what I love about that, and it works for me, is that when I send this About Us document, I am able to be super clear with clients, and they can mentally calculate how much my fee is going to be based on what they see on the paper, based on the square footage, based on the percentage, and so that they can get a good idea of what things are going to cost. The challenge, though, with that fixed fee is you have to make sure you are going to be profitable. You have to, unfortunately, track your hours. You have to track your hours, and you have to track your team's hours too. So I'm getting a little bit off the side there with the hourly versus fixed, because that is the biggest debate. And that is what the course dives into. And I dive into all the things between hourly, fixed fee, and then what does a hybrid look like? What does a hybrid model look like? Because actually that's what I use in my business. And inside the course, I walk you through my exact pricing model. I also have a calculator for you to help you. It is a calculator template. It's an Excel sheet that all you need to do is plug and play your own time and numbers into it. And you can start to churn out some different pricing so you can help make an educated decision on how you want to go about your next project and how you want to price it. It's the exact pricing calculator that I use inside my business. And I give it to you as part of the course. Okay, so the second thing I want you to do, once you start sort of figuring out this pricing model and you think you've got it figured out, first I want you to send a PDF or create a beautiful PDF, send it to your client so that they can see your pricing structure before you do the next step, which, and I've talked about this before, set up a discovery call. You guys know I have a discovery call script. It is free. You can just go to RebeccaHay.com/discovery, download it, use it, make it your own. But essentially, it is the script that I use to ensure I'm asking the right questions in that very first intake phone call with a potential client. And the section of questions that are really important for our conversation here today have to do with money and understanding that the client is coming to you as an expert. And as much as it might feel uncomfortable, you have to be prepared to talk about the numbers. You have to be prepared to talk about your fee, either how you calculate it, or what I love to do is give past examples of past projects. You know, in the last kitchen we did, I think the pricing, the project came in around, I don't know, I'm making this up, $80,000. That was including our design fee, including the construction, including all of the supplied elements like the lighting and the counter stools, et cetera. How does that feel like the right amount, like an investment amount that makes sense to you given the size of your project? Of course, I haven't seen your project, so I couldn't really say. It's good to start throwing out those numbers because nobody wants to waste your time or their money by going to their house for a consultation when, let's face it, they're probably not going to hire you because you're maybe too expensive or they don't agree with how you calculate your fee. Upfront and honest communication is super duper important. And then the next sort of best practice I recommend is before your clients sign anything and before you even give them a proposal for your fee, is you walk them through your contract at the consultation. If you can walk them through your contract, then you can talk about the money early and upfront. And I realize I'm getting a little bit deeper. I'm going a little bit deep and I can't help myself. This is what I talk about mostly inside Power of Process is like I walk you through the whole process of how to run a consultation and how to present proposals to your clients. But essentially, you want to walk them through so you can meet any objections head on in person when you're with them. You know, there's ways to communicate pricing to clients that isn't scary, right? Like post your fees on your website. That's a great way. Give them a detailed proposal and make sure you review it with them on Zoom or in person. Use visuals wherever you possibly can to sort of indicate percentages. Perhaps you could use a pie graph. And you need to determine upfront internally, like with yourself, if you are a designer who wants to be negotiating, like, are you open to negotiation with your clients, or are you like, no, our fees are non-negotiable. If they don't want to go for it, they're not my client. Because there's nothing worse than feeling caught off guard because someone's trying to negotiate and you're like, I don't know, maybe, and then sometimes if you give an inch, they take a mile. Anytime I have a client, I actually just had this happen where someone reached out to us and they want to skip the discovery call. They said to my office, they just want to move straight into a consultation. They know that they love my design aesthetic and they just want to get rolling. You know, their contractor has another designer, but they really want to work with me, which to me already is a red flag. They're trying to bully us into moving outside of our process by dangling this carrot saying like, well, we might go with the contractor's designer, but, you know, we really want you. To me, that was a red flag, to which I said to my team, I said, no, we do not offer consultations without a discovery call. I am not going to, 2 hours of my time. Yes, I'm going to make some money, but if it's not going to go anywhere, it could actually be detrimental. So if they're not clear on how we structure our pricing and our process, it could be everybody's waste of time and money. So you have to be careful from the very beginning that you don't give in too much. And that comes down to negotiating your fees. You need to know what you need to make to be profitable. You need to estimate, and this is what I walk through in that pricing calculator that's inside the course, is I like for you to look at calculating your design fee multiple ways. So if you go through the course and you decide, yep, I want to do a square footage pricing model, that's awesome. Calculate the square footage. But then I recommend that you cross-check, you cross-reference that with the hours you anticipate putting in. And the more experience you get doing projects and tracking your hours, the more you'll be able to look back at past projects and see, oh, if I had charged hourly for that project instead of square footage, I would have come out ahead or made less money. And those are how you can start to tell if you're on the right track. That's why my pricing calculator works, because I've plugged in the formulas so you can look at all the different types and then you can decide how you want to price it and how you want to charge it to your clients. Okay. And then lastly, I really just want to have this conversation about handling client objections. And if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. And that is really getting ahead of the clients who are going to push back. Because that is something that we all experience. Like, can you do it for cheaper? Or is that your best price? Or, you know, can you sharpen your pencil? Right? Those are uncomfortable, sticky conversations. And I think if you can start to prepare, whether it's a script, you may not have it handy, but bullet points that you are ready and equipped with talking about to handle that client objection, then you're going to feel so much more confident. I'm going to walk you through a few client objections. I have a full database of client objections and suggested responses or scripted responses inside Pricing with Confidence. So if you like this, you're going to love that module inside the course. But I'm just going to walk you through a couple of them right now that I think are the most common. So let's address this one of like, can you do it for cheaper? Can you do it for less? Like, you know, is there a little bit of wiggle room? You know, maybe they try to leverage something like, oh, well, we really want to do our cottage next year. Never take that bait. I've taken that bait. It led me nowhere good. So here is a great response that you can use if someone is pushing back on your pricing to help make you feel a bit more confident. You could say, I would like to assure you that we are committed to providing the highest quality design solutions, and our prices reflect that level of expertise, experience, and attention to detail that we bring to every project. Our team of designers has years of experience and a proven track record of delivering exceptional outcomes for clients. We believe that our interior design services are well worth the investment and that the end result will exceed your expectations in terms of both functionality and aesthetic appeal. Our focus is always on achieving complete client satisfaction, and we work closely with our clients to ensure that their vision is brought to life in a way that meets their needs and exceeds their expectations. For these reasons, we do not discount our services, and they are non-negotiable. I think what essentially this rebuttal, air quotes, is a way to reiterate the level of service that you're offering. So instead of going into a defensive mode, talking about, well, I can't charge more because this person's going to cost me this much and I don't know how many hours it's going to be, blah, 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 reiterate the value they're getting when they hire you. Because who is going to object to that? Okay. The last or second and last one that I want to speak to is discount sharing. And I've talked about this a lot, but I just feel like it's still so important to have this conversation. We've been talking about it inside Power of Process this time around. And so I just want to give you a little bit of a hand handling this question. And though it doesn't pertain specifically to your fees, it has to do with project profitability. You guys know, hopefully by now, that I feel very strongly about not sharing your discounts, not passing on your commissions to your clients. That money is meant for you. If it was meant for them, then all the stores would just give it to everyone. Not going to go down that rabbit hole. But what do you say to a client who says, why don't you share your discounts with your clients? Or can you share your discounts with me? So what you can respond is say, I understand that you're curious about our policy regarding discounts, and I'd love to provide some clarification for you. In the past, now this is what I say, okay? And you can use this whether it's true or not. Unless, of course, you just started your business yesterday and they know it. You might want to tweak the wording and you could say that you've learned from industry colleagues. But in the past, we used to share our discounts with our clients, but we found that it wasn't a profitable business model for us. Our goal is to provide the highest quality design services, and we believe that this requires investing in the best materials, techniques, and talent. In order to do this, we need to ensure that our prices reflect the value that we bring to each project. If they push, you could go on to say these are years of relationships that you have built with specific vendors. And end it there. Most clients, truthfully, are not trying to put you out of business. And if they are, that is a red flag. Okay, I'm actually going to give you one bonus one here because this is also a really good one because we're talking about design fees. And I encourage you to increase your design fees because probably you're not charging enough. And the reality is everything else has gone up in this world. Food, housing, furniture, lighting, construction, all the materials, all the things, private schools, ski clubs, memberships, like everything has gone up. Why should you not increase your pricing? And so what you might get is someone asking, hey, I don't understand. Why has your pricing increased? And I want to share a specific example with you from my own business where I had a client become a repeat client. And there were 5 years passed between the first project and the second project. And our fees were 3 to 4 times the price of what they were. And I am not exaggerating. I can't remember what the original fee was, but I think it was $10,000 to $15,000 for us to design their one floor of their home and do the construction. And then the next time it came around, the fee was about $60,000. Now for a different scope, but still, it was at least double, if not more. And I anticipated that I was going to get some pushback because I realized that this was vastly different than what they paid for us before. But I know our value. Time had passed, and I knew that the clients have the money probably to do it if they see the value. So I got an email from this client saying that they noticed the fees double what it was in 2019 and for a smaller scope. They appreciate the fees not wholly linked to the scope, but given the discrepancy, we just want to confirm that this is the case. This was their polite way of saying, whoa, lady, your prices have gone up. What the frick? So here's what I said. I said, I'm looking forward to working with you both again. In response to your question, I'd like to explain the reason for our increase in pricing. Our rates have been adjusted based on two key factors: market conditions and my own experience as a business owner. Over the past 5 years, we've gained a deeper understanding of the time and effort required to design a project, and our fees now more accurately reflect this. I hope this information is helpful, and I'd be happy to discuss any questions or concerns you may have. And they hired us for the project. So I hope this episode is giving you a little bit more confidence. I know I haven't told you what to charge because it really is individual and it really is going to depend on your business. It's going to depend on three things. It's going to depend on who your client is, what service you're offering, and what type of pricing model you want to follow. Because you can determine that. And I can help you calculate it inside the course. So if you guys are interested, it is a bite-sized course. You can literally consume it in one afternoon. It is 3 modules, including your templated calculator. I think it's $297. Like, it's a very affordable price point for what you get. The students who've taken this course, truthfully, have gone on to charge triple, at least double, some of them triple what they were charging before. So you'll make your money back in a heartbeat. But it is hopefully going to help guide you to give you a little bit more confidence. So oh, this is how everyone else is doing it. Yeah, I'm right in alignment. I feel like I'm fitting right in. Or, okay, I'm undercharging a little, but I'm comfortable with that for now. Or, oh man, I'm really charging, like I charge more than Rebecca. Then frick, good for you. But if you're super curious how I do it, how I calculate my design fee, price my services, and how others are doing it too in the industry, go grab the course, RebeccaHay.com/pricing. And I really look forward to hearing your results and hearing how you calculate your design fee. Like, come join us inside the Designer Meetup Facebook group. Come share it inside Designer's Room. Like, share what you're charging. What actually are you charging? Not just your hourly rate. Because the more we can share, the more we help each other. And the more we're actually doing this industry a service. Okay, I hope that episode gave you a kick in the butt, gave you something to think about. And that's it. I'll see you soon. Okay, I hope you guys liked that episode and it gave you a bit of a kick in the butt to help you sort of pay a bit of attention to your client, the service you offer. What is your model for calculating your design fee? If you don't have one, it's time to get one. But I also wanted to hop on here to remind you there's a couple other episodes of this podcast that can help direct you in the right direction. That can help send you in the right direction. And that is episode 122, Is Fixed Fee Billing for You? It's a really great breakdown of fixed fee billing, pros and cons. And I think that will be really complementary to today's episode. There's also episode 142, Calculating Project Costs Before Clients Hire You. It's not specifically about calculating your design fee, but it is in the same thread of just getting familiar with the numbers and feeling a bit more confident when you're speaking to your clients. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed that episode. Drop a note, please, inside Designer Meetups in Facebook. Let me know, what is your pricing model? And I'll see you soon.